and final game in today's Omen encounter. And Sifa, we've got some Trick2g-like champions. We have some very safe champions on the red side. How is this going to unfold?
Well, on the one hand, we have two sub-ins here on what was Cutie Pie's team, so we got to be a little bit worried on that. But on the other hand, Blem got a champion he can play. And that's going to be huge because, I mean, his champion pool is pretty limited. And he did a pretty solid game last game on Janna. But this game on Annie, I'm really looking for some results from him. Really strong Annie player, really hoping for the roams to come out. But then again, you know, we've got Trick on that Constable Volibear, the long arm of the law there, bringing down justice. So we're going to see exactly how that unfolds. At this point, I'll be curious just to see how the level 1s unfold. And it looks like, once again, the defensive level 1 lineup coming out from the blue side team, whereas the red side team is a little more spread out, a little bit more vision control here. How do you expect these lane matchups to go?
I really don't know. I mean, it honestly depends who gets the early game advantage, which it looked like Trick's team was thinking about going for an aggressive invade, but decided against it and just going to wind up sending Nasus back to the top lane. Now, we have Zervik, who picked up the Grays after the Corki lock-in. You know, it kind of heralds back to like the Season 2 era AD carries. You had Ezreal, Corki, Grays, and it was the holy trinity of AD carries. And you had the one that kind of beat the other one, the Trinity Force AD carries, not necessarily as bursty till they get that Trinity Force item as the Grays raw upfront buckshot damage is. So we're going to have to see who winds up pulling out in this bottom lane. I think it's going to be the Grays Janna matchup, but you're getting bullied out already from your double Krugs right there coming in. Quick little steal there from Corki and Annie, just bullying him around right away. It's not necessarily setting up for a good lane phase here. Foster's bombs as well, by taking a lot of damage here. And XP Cake and Blem wasted no time saying that they're the ones that are going to be aggressive in this bottom lane.
And this is really reminiscent of, you know, in prior seasons where those golems would spawn at like 140 and we would see people try to take them early or try to take them before coming to lane. You would always see that AD carry and that support go to contest them. And this is something that just is kind of a disadvantage that purple side has over blue side, is that you know, they can't take those. But good on them for contesting and denying that bit of experience in the early game. And we do see Xpeke taunting a little bit there in his magical helicopter.
He got that one Krug, so he hit level 2 before anybody else in that lane did. And they just kind of like went away and left the other one there. So he and Blem asserting their dominance right now in bottom lane. It was on the opposite side, Love Lava in top lane as well. Getting that early magic damage out, getting that shove in the lane that Rumble likes to do. This Nasus, he needs stacks. He's got to farm up. He's got to get the cane going. But unfortunately for him, Rumble, a very aggressive early laner, not going to let him just farm safely.
Yeah, and in lane in general, until the later levels, I mean, Rumble's just going to be so much stronger. He has so much more damage, and Nasus has just, you know, a notoriously weak early game, usually balanced out by the fact that he has, you know, built-in sustain. But in this situation, it's going to be really hard for him to do anything in this lane, really, other than survive.
Well, speaking of survival, Golden Glue doing so by being pushed under his tower extremely early by fishing for Earth here on the Syndra, but he has no ward coverage. Harry Abs, he spies himself a kill right here. Flash is available for fishing for Earth, does flash away from the command attack here from Golden Glue. No gank going to be coming off of that one. Trick was just waiting in the wings. Nothing else too much, but a burn summoner, that means he could revisit that lane for an easy kill.
Yeah, and I'm really, really curious to see exactly what's going to happen in mid lane. I mean, we've got two of the most, I would say, two of the best champions for playing defensive. But in this mid lane matchup where you've got a Volibear and a Pantheon going to kind of come in the middle of it, it'll be curious to see who plays better. And I think, depending on who gets ahead in these mid lane matchups, the mid game team fights are going to be greatly in that team's favor.
Bottom lane trades going off, an anti-stun from Blem, as well as a phosphorus bomb there from XPK. Heals and ignites going off. Zervik dropping low, the ignite ticking forward. A flash auto attack. First blood goes over to Corki. That's going to be a nice kill in that bottom lane here.
And this is the confidence we see coming from Blem when he has a champion he's comfortable with. He walked in there, blew his combo. Mid lane.
Flash away there for Golden Glue. He's going to get flipped over, though. There's Trick2g. The bite comes down, but Fishing for Earth picks up the kill. Harry has now taken a lot of damage for his tumbles. The heal comes off. A flash burn there from Pantheon. 2 flashes burned in mid lane, and it's the team without the flash to begin with that picks up the kill.
Yeah, and just excellent, excellent knowledge there coming out from Trick2g. Good synergy with Fishing for Earth there. Pulling off an excellent gank, and then forcing the Pantheon flash there, too. Good job from Trick2g using that passive. I mean, without that, Pantheon might have been able to stay for a kill, but because of it, we know he has to flash away or he is doomed.
It's that mid lane synergy. It's the young Fishing for Earth and Trick2g. They duo queued together for so long. They got that down pat, whereas with Golden Glue and Harry Abs, You know, they were drafted on the Cutie Pies team. I'm sure they played together in solo queue a bunch of times, but not necessarily on the same wavelength as that mid-jungle duo synergy. That's something like, I mean, like, the background for us, we do a podcast on the LCS. So a lot of this is we talk about how important mid lane and jungle synergy is, and we didn't really mention this in Champions Select, but they have that on Trick2g's side.
And it's going to be, we're going to see it more and more, I imagine, as the game goes on, about how important this is. Because it doesn't just mean ganks, but also team fight decision making, which is going to be huge here, especially for Trick2g's team, who has, let's be honest, not the best team fight in this mid game. You know, they don't have that rumble all, but superior decision making will always win out. Champion base numbers are not enough.
Who needs good team fights when there are gates just waiting to be opened?
Oh my gosh, really?
Well, Rumble is hit level 6 and bullying Strumpist under his tower right here. Strumpist extremely low. The Equalizer could come down and snipe up a kill, but the pings are going down. Trick's coming around the backside here. Lova does have a ward down. Sees Trick coming down. The Ghost is out from Nasus. The ultimate comes out. The Nasus ultimate popped as well. The flips come over here. Nasus puts down the Wither. Lova dropping extremely low. He's overheated. Is he going to get the +6? No. Fishing for Earth takes the kill away, but he does save Trick2g. 3 members in top lane means a dragon attempt from the bottom side. Some of your minions giving some vision up there, but all the focus in top lane there on Lova, they're going to get this objective anyway without Rumble's help.
Yeah, and one of the nice things there for Nasus was that he hit that level 6 at the perfect time. He didn't have enough health on his own to go in there, but once he hit that level 6, he was safe from that Rumble ult, and a good gang from Trick2g, but really giving up that objective there, putting too many people in the top lane to contest anything. Solid rotation coming out from Golden Glue's team, Cutie Pie's team, however you want to say it. And that early dragon is going to be a lot more valuable than that kill in the top lane.
I'm going to call him Cutie and the Pies from now on, because that sounds pretty good.
Not Cutie and the boys.
Cutie and the... we them boys. But, so Cutie and the boys is the official name of the red team, whereas Trick2g's army is the blue team. But, I mean, we talked about it Champ Select. They have the composition for team fights. They have their composition screens. We want objective control. And with winning this bottom lane, that dragon is easy access. Having the style that Trick and Fishing for Earth have, the synergy together, they both roamed up towards that top lane, means they left that objective completely wide open. So now there's the 8% AP and AD on the side of Cutie Pie's boys, the official name from now on. But still, that just means that this bottom lane we see continuing to get pressured out here, despite having the Grades versus Corki matchup, gonna go even further and further in favor of Imaqtpie and Blem.
Yeah, well, you can see that early Sheen is just really paying off for him. I mean, Corki is just an excellent Sheen user, especially once he hits level 6, and is going to be able to get those procs whenever he wants them. And Graves' early trading is, you know, added to by that Janna pick, but Janna alone does not really circumvent the amount of damage that an Annie support can put out.
And the thing is, too, Janna has a shield. She's going to be putting points in that eventually, but Annie's Q, definitely a lot more damage than the Janna shield, and we see that being a huge problem in this bottom lane. Mid lane, too, Fishing for Earth. His Fizz was banned away. He's been heralded as a guy who he plays Fizz, and that's pretty much it. What is he going to do when that gets banned away? He was practicing Xerath. He goes for the other side of the Fizz versus Syndra matchup, definitely holding his own against Golden Glue here, 2-0, and only 2 CS behind.
And you can learn so much from playing the other side of a matchup that it's no surprise that he's so comfortable on Syndra. I mean, he knows he's got to know the ranges, he knows the damages, and he knows what to expect kind of from his opponent, especially in the form of Orianna, another really common mid laner, despite the fact that it's being piloted by Golden Glue, who is obviously a very good player. You know, her moves and her abilities are kind of limited, especially against Syndra, a champion with just such long range.
Well, we have the junglers maybe going for a little bit of invade, but Trick2g is going to be dissuaded here by Golden Glue. He's going to get, say hello to Senior Scuttlecrab in the middle of the river here by the Baron buff area. They're wrestling for control over this one, though. Looks like the red team wants to try to collapse. Scuttlecrab does run away, and Lova is going to just put on the afterburners, pick up that Scuttlecrab kill, says thanks a lot, Trick.
You know, and even though they did get that Scuttlecrab, they pretty much avoided disaster there. I mean, we saw both Pantheon, Orianna, and Rumble, all three of them collapsing down against Syndra and Volibear, and that's not a matchup you really want to be fighting, especially when Rumble has his ultimate available. So, despite the fact that they gave up Scuttlecrab, they do keep that pink ward in the bush, and they avoid, you know, disaster by overextending.
Oh, Trick did just try to run in through that lane, but with a ward in the brush as well as the Scuttle Crab vision, I don't necessarily think that the red team has any blind spots in that top riverside. We saw fishing for Earth with the roam was a big factor beforehand. He is going to get jumped on here by Harry Abs, though. The ultimate right underneath the tower, though. Fishing for Earth responds immediately. He's going to force a flash shot from Pantheon here, but Golden Glue gets the command shockwave. The command protect goes down. Fishing for Earth tries to chase the kill, but it's going to go nowhere here. Golden Glue picks himself up a kill.
Yeah, and just a little bit of over-aggression there. And, and that's going to cost him, really, because this matchup can go either way. And when you have, Trick2g coming in.
The flips come down. Golden Glue has the command protect, burns his flash, but Trick flashes right after him. Teleport's coming in already from Love. Trick's gonna go hard for this one. The equalizer slows him down. Volibear can't catch up, and down goes Trick2g.
The equalizer indeed. Excellent teleport. I saw that coming in and I was really skeptical, but the range on that equalizer.
Lamb bottom lane, flash, Timber stun, flash from next pet cake, double kill picked up there. That's a tower going down for Cutie and the boys. Even though they lost, actually they wind up winning in mid lane. They take a double kill bottom lane for the AD carry, and a tower. So much gold just came down to the red team.
And once again, this is a champion Blem is comfortable on, and not only that, a lot of people don't see Annie as much. She's not in the meta, but that burst damage is still as strong as ever, even if her stun did get toned back a little bit.
Man, just so much damage and so much power coming out from the side of the red team, Cutie and the boys here. Now, they do have a lot of high damage champions in the early game. Pantheon jungle, very good early. Rumble, power spikes at 6 and 11. Annie, first. They have a lot of damage here. But Trick2g side, they can just hold out in this one. I mean, they're down 3,000 gold already, but still, they have the scaling power. They have the Syndra. They have the Nasus, who's getting pretty pushy right here against Rumble. Knows that ultimate's not available. He gets one cane down. There's going to be the scrap shield coming out from Love. The overheat goes off, but he is close enough to the tower that he's going to get away.
Yeah, and keep in mind, at this point in the game, I mean, we're about 12 minutes in, and Nasus has 156 stacks on that Siphoning Strike. So despite the fact that Rumble was really dominant in lane, Nasus is doing really good at keeping up in farm and really good at stacking that Siphoning Strike.
Yeah, the big thing is Rumble did pull that teleport towards mid lane. It let Nasus not only get the farm back that he was denied in the early stages of the game, but he's got a CS advantage at this point in time. Rumble did go for that very early Leandry's Torment, so when Nasus uses his ultimate, Rumble spells are still going to be burning away for a large percentage of that big dog's HP percent. However, I mean, the Nasus just getting going is going to be a big key for this one. If they can stall out long enough for Nasus to be able to just take out someone like an X-Pet Cake, like a Golden Glue, then the whole composition from the side of, the red team is really going to fall apart. It really hinges on those two carries.
Yeah, and one of the big weaknesses of, Cutie Pie's or Cutie and the boys' team at this point is that they have so much magic damage and so little attack damage. I mean, Pantheon will do solid damage in the late game, and Corki, once he stops poking with those rockets, is going to do a lot of physical damage. But outside of that, you can pretty much build magic resist and be fine.
Well, this team fight composition once again goes for a dragon, and this one is once again uncontested. Pantheon, of course, being extremely good at getting those dragons himself. When he has a team, it goes down even quicker. Dragon Slayers at times 2 stacks means in addition to the 8% AD and AP, 15% damage to minions and monsters has now been acquired by the red team, so they have a little bit of extra pushing power against Trick2g's army.
Yeah, and that's going to come in handy pretty large amount, mostly because they're pushing a lot, and we do see that kill.
Ooh. Oh, actually, he gets it. Fishing for Earth, able to pick up a kill off of the... It wasn't even Ignite damage coming in. His Ignite is on cooldown here. That's the second time we've seen Harry Abs dive really deep for Fishing for Earth, and it was the first time we saw actually Fishing for Earth being able to pick up a kill in response.
And one of the great things about Pantheon is your ability to dive those towers. I mean, we see his passive blocks that tower shot no matter what. You can reset it with that W. Such a strong pick.
Ooh.
Trick just too confident in there, instantly getting blown up. This magic burst damage is so high coming out from this Cutie Pie team, but I mean, he doesn't have any resistances to stop it yet. I mean, Nasus does in the top lane, but that is the only bit of magic resist we see on their entire team.
I just don't think he expected Corki to be that huge at this point. Corki, 117 CS compared to 89 from Graves. Fully completed Trinity Force, while Graves only has a BF sword. Now the roam to top lane. The bottom lane is up there. Stromp is trying to do what he can. Has popped the ghost to try to get away from this one. The flash forward from Bive is going to want to get in the knock-up and slow down on the Love. Rumble trying to run away. Pops the scrap shield. Tower down, not successful in that circumstance, but still. Now it's Cutie and the boys who are the ones moving all around the map instead of Trick's team.
Yeah, and this is actually really surprising. We don't see Annie with a huge amount of support itemization, and we don't see, them having a ton of wards on the map outside of the pink wards they've placed. So it's impressive that they're moving as well as they are. And I'm actually really, really surprised to see this going as well for them as it is. That being said, I do think Rumble could have ulted a little bit better there, maybe have secured that Nasus kill, but good rotations coming in from Trick's team to stop that kill from going down.
Oh man, Nasus popping the ultimate here. Fury of the Sands taken away. He's running next to Love Lava, has the Kate available, trying to get that coveted +6. Love Letta is going to go down though. D-King comes down. That's 6 stacks there for Strumpus.
And Janna coming in just in time with that shield and that movement speed buff, to give not only herself the assist, but Nasus that little bit of extra AD. Wow.
Wow. So I was going to say something about the supports getting in a fight, but looks like between a Pantheon and an Annie, Janna stands no chance in that one there. Just so much damage in this. Not even 20 minutes into the game right here, coming out from the red side. The burst from Corki, the Pantheon ability, the critical strikes when they get low enough. It's just raw damage right now. And like you said, they need to start warding out the enemy side of the map to make sure they continue to press this advantage. And we see that right here. Blem clearing out a ward in the top area with his Oracle's Lens. We had even Pekek on Corki putting down a pink ward, clearing out vision control over by the enemy red buff. They know that Trick can find his ways into their side of the map. They know that he needs to still farm himself up a little bit to get to the point where he can pressure the gates, try to open them up. But they're just not letting him, and that's what they have to do to try to keep ahead in this game.
Yeah, and at this point, it's going to be really hard for them to farm, because this is honestly probably the strongest point in the game for QtPie and the boys. Love Lava about to hit level 11, huge for Rumble.
Ooh. Goodbye, Strumpus. You're a big tanky dog, but I don't think you're going to survive this one. The Ignite goes down, Corki rockets go out, and Blem's the one who picks up the kill. That is 5 full members of the red team in top lane, making sure now Nasus is not the one getting farmed.
Yeah, and this is an excellent choice by them to shut down that Nasus and to delay his inevitable late game, because really their only concern at this point is, Volibear becoming so tanky he's unkillable, and Nasus getting so many stacks that he can start one-shotting people. But on the other side of the map, we do see Graves split push out that tower, so it's not a complete loss.
Ooh. Pekek does get cut out by some stuns right there. The command shockwave did wind up going down, but it's going to be Syndra picks up the kill. Now Blem has to flash over the wall. Trick was going for the flip, but the flash away. Blem was able to get over the Gromp side of the wall, but they're not done yet. They're still pushing forward. Harriet has full HP, but he's getting turned around here. Strumpus with the teleport from behind, getting down a lot of damage. Flips come out. In comes the cave. Strumpus with another +6 for himself, and he lays down the speaker there just to chill off a little bit.
Well, and good on Strumpus for running the way that he did and not leading them to the team. He did make sure that his 2 teammates could back out there, but also excellent play from Trick and the team to just, come together and secure that kill for themselves. 6-9 now, 3K gold lead for Cutie and the boys, and at this point, I'm really curious to see what Trick's team's going to do.
Man, this is diving between and behind towers for days. Love Lava comes in, throws down the equalizer, forces the flash out of Zerbeck. While everything was going down in the top lane, maybe a little overextension from the red team as they were going for 2 towers at the price of 1 after picking up a kill on top of that. But they lost the bottom tower, they burned the teleport, and they didn't have the rumble in that engagement. And you saw that when one piece of that wombo combo puzzle is not there, it doesn't necessarily work as well. So a little overextension cost them, and now this is where Trick's team gets some gold back on their side. They lost 3 towers, they didn't have any. They took 1 on the bottom. Strumpus is up here trying to knock down this top tower, but not enough stacks to one-shot 577 HP yet.
No, not quite, but he has 280, almost more than 280 stacks at this point, and he's going to be hitting those towers so hard pretty quickly here, and good on him to apply that pressure in the top lane. My big concern at this point, Love Lava's Rumble ultimates. He burned that ultimate on just Graves and didn't get a kill there, and that is really risky for them, because if the enemy team forces a team fight at this point, they will probably come out on top just because of how crucial Rumble ult is to that team fight.
Oh, Trick's team getting caught by red buff. Bai's going to use the Monsoon, but he is going to go down. Golden Glue picks up that kill. Harriabs came in the backside, but Zerbeck picks up a kill. Command Shockwave's able to go down, and Fate is going to fall. That's his name. He's going to wind up getting knocked down there. They do get the top lane tower, but no teleports available for Strumpus. There's a ward on the dragon, so Trick's team knows that they're going to go for it here. Rumble Ultimate is back available now. Trick is going to try to just crawl on all fours, get away. Golden Glue flashes the wrong direction. Trick's trying to lead him on a wild goose chase. The equalizer cuts him off. That's going to slow him down, and no amount of regen is going to save him from full force of 4 here. It's another kill for the red team.
Yeah, and that Rumble may not have been available for a team fight, but after that first pick, he could happily use it to to block off Trick's escape and make it for an easy kill for the team, and now an easy dragon to follow up. That movement speed buff is going to come in huge, especially against a character like Volibear and like Nasus, who have to get in close to do anything.
Well, half HP on this top tier 2 tower, but it was at the price of the 3rd dragon. So now with all this map movement that we've seen coming out from the red team, the 3rd dragon buff gives them that extra movement speed buff, 5% in total, which is it's a lot if you think about it. Lich Bane gives you 6%. You seem to be motoring when you have that on a character like Twisted Fate. So 5% extra move speed to go with the hashtag rotations that they have going around the map at this point in time. It's going to be really difficult to try to outposition them. And when you're thinking about Trick2g's Volibear, that's all he does. He runs around. He's going to be caught now.
Yeah, and you do see, you know, Blem making some pretty smart decisions here with his anti-itemization. I mean, double Doran's Blade may be questionable, or double Doran's Frame may be questionable, but Rylai's against a team like this, a team that is so easy to kite, is going to come in really, really handy at all points of the game. And despite the fact that, like we said earlier, that Jaina movement speed buff kind of cancels out that dragon buff, you need every bit of movement speed you can get if you're Trick right now.
Well, Gromp's not going to give him any movement speed, but it is going to give him some much-needed gold. If you take a look at the scoreboard right here, we do have 4, 3, and 2 on Syndra in the mid lane. Fishing for Earth's going to have a pretty decent record right now for the side of Trick2g's team. 2-1-1 on that top lane Nasus as well. But on the opposite side, it's really about those carries. Mid lane Orianna has found herself at 4-1-4 after those team fights. And Xpeke Corki, 5-1-1. He's had advantages since literally level 1.
Yeah, and I mean, just stealing that single creep in the early game, stealing that away, was so huge for him. And now you see that Blade of the Rune King coming out. You know, this is a pretty popular defensive build for Corki's, and I think it's an excellent choice against a team with a Volibear and a Nasus. It's going to make him that much safer in these team fights, and it's just going to shred all that health that they're building.
Well, actually, Xpeke gets caught out here, fishing for Earth. A lot of burst damage, but not quite enough to take down that Corki. Still has his heal and flash available, so didn't necessarily burn through everything he wanted. Morello Namicon and Zanya's Hourglass Face doesn't have the mana regeneration like a Athena's Holy Grail will give. Granted, Morello Namicon has a little bit from that, but he doesn't have the burst damage of going for like a death cap like we saw coming out from actually Golden Glue last game when he was playing Syndra. With death cap, Athena's Void Staff was blowing people up left and right.
Yeah, and it's interesting that he went Morello Namicon here over Athena's Unholy Grail. But I suppose that health reduction is going to come in handy against the Corki, but no one else on the enemy teams would seem to be affected by it.
Not to mention that you have basically 3.5 AP carries on the side of QD and the boys, which is a lot of magic damage coming out. To not get the magic resistance item, it's really interesting. If it pays off, it still has a lot of ability power, and it has the cooldown reduction that you need. So I guess he's just looking for the raw damage output rather than trying to survive fights.
Yeah, but on the other hand, this could just be a show of inexperience on this champion. You know, we do know that he loves, obviously loves Fizz, and we do know that he's been practicing a lot of Xerath around this time, but we haven't seen any of his Syndra game, really. So is this a champion he's practiced, or a champion he picked because he knew it was a safe first pick, and that they could build a team around it regardless of what they wanted to do?
Red team's having a lot of people go at the top lane. Strumpus is getting down on the Lava, trying to turn around, trying to get as much damage down as possible. He's still surviving. They're using a lot of damage to take him down, but meanwhile in the mid lane, 2 for the price of 1. Blend picks up a double kill here. Trick's trying to chase down Xpeke, but the teleport's coming out. It's going to try to chase him away from this one. It's 3 kills now as Xpeke picks one up for himself. The Equalizer comes down, trying to slow down Zerbeck. He's not going to wind up getting tagged with that one, but that is 4 kills for the price of absolutely none on the side of the red team.
Yeah, and while Trick2g's team committed 3 people to the top early in the game and gave up a dragon, when QtiePie's team committed 3 people to the top, they did it when no objectives were available, when the lanes were pushed out, and they could do it for free. On top of that, Corki and Annie are so far ahead that they just get to blow up any one person on the map that they want to. And now we see that Baron coming over to them. This is going to be pretty tough for Trick's team, especially with their lack of wave clear on this team.
The lack of wave clear, the ability that everybody on the side of the red team wants to group up together, the Baron buff pushing down, making those minions super strong and super tanky. They're really hard to kill when you have that Baron buff on top of them. This thing's looking really, really good for Cutie and the boys here. They have about a 6,500 gold lead, 16 kills compared to 7, only 3 towers compared to the 2 from Trick's team. So the towers there's still a lot of gold left on the map in these towers too. So it's mainly just through that objective control and the huge amount of kills that are on the side of the red team.
Oh, so many kills. And I mean, 7k gold, that's such a huge lead. And at this point with a Baron buff, I don't even think they can defend inner turret. Even with these buffs to the inner turret and that shield coming out, like, how do you stop an Annie and an Orianna and a Rumble and a Pantheon just coming in at you? That is so much AoE damage, and so much sustained damage, and, you know, at least 2 characters are going to get bursted out. The one strength that this team has is that Zhonya's Hourglass. We do see Nasus going in on Rumble in the top lane here, though.
Yeah, one way to kind of pull him away is to just absolutely abuse the fact they have no split pusher to deal with Nasus. A flash away from Love over the wall. Nasus already burned his ghost. He's trying to chase down, and look at this! Trick and Strumpus trying to just ring around the rosy with the entire enemy team. They're wasting time for this Baron buff. There's no pushes going down, nothing being threatened, and Strumpus is still pushing on this top tower. He actually might even pick up a kill here.
Yeah, and it will not surprise me at all, because he's going to take down this tower. He's not even worried about his health bar. He just does so much damage with those stacks. Kayn in that tower. And the one thing to keep in mind is that Blade of the Rune King buy for Corki is so good, because if you look at Trick2g's itemization, all health. Little bit of magic resist for sure, which is a good buy, but the rest of it is all health, meaning that thing is going to do maximum damage.
Harryaz getting caught out with a Syndra stun on ultimate. The Zhonya's Hourglass goes down, so Corki's not going to pick up a kill with that rocket. Flash away from the Orianna ultimate as well. Strumpus coming in from the top lane, though. He is going to get melted without his ultimate, though. No Fury of the Sands means no health from that one. Stun from Syndra's going to go wide. Expecting and Golden Glue flashing in with their ultimates down. They're still picking up kills left and right. Pantheon can sit back and solo the dragon while they push down this tier 2 mid tower. So they're making use of that Baron buff after all.
Yeah, and Blem interrupted that pick perfectly, blowing his full combo on Syndra. But the thing about Syndra is, especially without that Unholy Grail, no magic resist. She just gets blown apart just by Annie's base numbers. Don't get me wrong, she has some AP, but it's no death cap. So just Annie's base numbers and that full rotation basically killing him there.
That was like the perfect time for the 4th dragon with the tower pushing power to go down, because it just immediately melted the middle inhibitor tower. Middle inhibitor goes down, and Cutie and the boys looking very well poised in this one. 27 minutes into the game, there's a mid lane inhibitor down. They have 4 dragon buffs now. If they just wait 5 minutes, get a 5th one, all but seals the deal.
Yeah, that 5th buff, so powerful, and if they ever need to get it, it's not even the next dragon. Any dragon they get is going to be infinitely more powerful than any dragon that Trick2g's team is going to get at this point. And the one thing to keep in mind is that if they keep this Baron buff going, with that tower push buff that they just got from the dragon, they'll push anything that they want to. And we already saw that they can hard engage on any terms, that even Annie has enough damage to blow up that Syndra, and it's just so powerful. Such a powerful comp coming out here.
Well, one thing from the side of the red team is 3 of their 5 towers are down in the same lane. They haven't gotten a lot of map pressure. I was going to say, Nasus is going to be able to split push and pull people apart here. He's drawn out the ultimate from Harryaz. Blem is there with the stuns as well. Fury of the Sands out there pulling XP cake over here as well. Strumpus, is he going to get a kill on Harryaz? The Hexdrinker shield comes out, so they're not going to wind up picking up a kill there onto Harryaz, but they're still picking and pulling them apart, dragging them across the map, not letting them use the rest of that Baron buff to try to push down at that point in time. Trick2g's team, they're trying to buy enough time, but the only unfortunate thing is they really want to farm up that Nasus, and he's the one that has to stall.
Yeah, and Nasus at this point has almost 450 damage on that Siphoning Strike, but that honestly is about as high as it's going to get at this point in the game, because he is not going to get any time anymore to solo farm a lane. There is just too much pressure coming out from Cutie-Pie's team. And you can see them pushing in here, using that poke, using the best of their team comp, and just waiting for a slip-up on the side of Trick2g so that they can hard engage. And they're not afraid to do it under turrets, even with that brand new turret laser.
13, 2, and 11 between Golden Glue and XP, doing a lot of work for this team here. The Rumble pick up the Equalizer. We said it was going to be really big for some of these fights. 1, 2, and 4. It's really about those 2 carries on the team. Zerbic actually getting stunned, has to burn a flash here. Harryaz going in on that Pantheon too. The stuns, the poke, just everything that they have, the team fight composition that they have from the side of the red team really starting to show its stuff in this later stages of the game.
Yeah,
ooh, actually, Fishing for Earth actually going to get blown up here. Trick2g tries to go in, but Golden Glue goes on a godlike spree, takes him down. Harryaz taking the laser, taking the Syndra as well. That inhibitor tower is not long for this world. It goes down. You have the Wither going down, and Golden Glue, actually the Equalizer as well, picks up a kill on Syndra. Unable to use the Zhonya's Hourglass, didn't even know it was standing on the Equalizer. They're pushing him off this inhibitor. Strumpus pops a Fury of the Sands. Zerbic's able to pick up a kill there on the Pantheon, but there goes the tank. Nasus is down. Everybody except for Zerbix is dead on the side of Trick2g's army. No gates are going to be open. They're getting closed right now. The ace comes out. Cutie and the boys pushing on the Nexus towers. That's it. That's the game.
And this is, you know, kind of what we expected at this point in the game. This is the team fight that they wanted. They finally fought on their terms, and it just happened to be in the enemy base with about a 10k gold lead. Before the start of the fight, that is.
That is some impressive stuff coming out from the red team here. They lost their captain, but they won a game. So that means at the end of today, Cutie